Hi guys, welcome to Anime for Life. Today I'm going to be bringing you my top 9 favorite lesser known manga that I generally like to read on my spare time. Now, when I say lesser known, I don't mean ones that you've possibly never ever heard of whatsoever. I just mean ones that aren't the mainstream like Naruto and Sword Art Online, but more just maybe when you may have heard whispered by your ear, or maybe skimmed by but never really given a glance. And just give them a shout out because I really think they're underappreciated. And some of you viewing this may have seen them and said, "Hey, I know that one." But for those of you who don't, yeah, I'll be going through these top 9 that are my favorite. They're in no particular order. But hopefully, after getting a quick review, maybe you'll check them out yourself. So, let's get to it. Number 1, Bacteria. Now, Bacteria is about a guy who gets accepted into this school, and he's like completely mediocre in absolutely everything. When it comes to looks, grades, everything. Like, he's absolutely not special or great in anything. And so when he gets accepted into this school, he's a little surprised, and he finds out that this girl has pulled a lot of strings for him to get into the school, but it's obviously not completely out of the goodness of her heart. What she did, the reason why she did this, is so that he can end up being a, I guess, sacrifice, to be the feeding stock of demons that she houses. Because her family has always been the retainers of several kinds of different demons. And so she says, in order for you to stay here and not get you expelled, you're going to have to let them feed off of you. So really, he's now got no choice, because he doesn't want to pass up this opportunity, because it's one of the most prestigious schools in the country. So he agrees to it, and the girl with the little mask on her head there is one of the demons that is out to protect him. And it's quite the funny series, because you've got the one character there, if you're familiar with the series Slayers, they've got the one guy who's always got all the answers, but he never quite tells the full truth of it. So he always leaves out that one crucial detail, and he's a real smart ass. I love him. He's always great for comic relief. And then you have her there, who tends to have a thing for the MC. So she tends to, for some odd reason, whenever he gets attention from other girls or even of the other demons, she tends to bite him. Because I guess I can't remember what kind of demon she is. I can't remember the name. But she tends to clamp onto him whenever he gets attention. But, yeah, so that is the purpose, is for him to provide nourishment for the demons. And it's just full of funny little mishaps and comedy. It has the occasional serious scene, like when he saves the one little flame spirit there, because he figures out that it's not trying to cause harm on purpose. So it's a good manga that's both got its funny moments and serious moments. The next one on my list is this one, Big Order, number 2. And this one, if you kind of look at it, you might get a slight resemblance to a certain Yandere queen. And that would be because the writer of this series is the same artist and author of Mirai Nikki. What this series is about a guy who I can't remember the name of at the moment. He created a calamity 10 years ago that virtually wiped out the country and killed like millions upon millions of people. And so now everybody hates him, but he's got this ability that allows him to control other people within a certain radius. And this girl here, she has got the ability to heal from practically everything. You can consider her Wolverine of the series. Like literally, if she can't get to her target easily, she will literally strap a grenade into her mouth, pull the pin, and run into it and blow herself up, and then just get back up and do whatever the hell she's doing, because she'll just regenerate from nothing. So she is trying to kill him because she believes that he killed her parents because of this calamity, and he's trying to fix it all because he's trying to save his sister, because his sister's got a very bad disease that's terminal, and so he's trying to find a way to save her, who's been kidnapped by this other organization who's up for their own plans, and trying to create this calamity once again, or so he thinks. That though is probably one, if I had to give it a complaint, that probably is one of the irritating facts about this manga, is this dude does have a bit of a sister complex. And he goes on about her a lot. So if there's one thing that might put you off from it, it would probably be that. But the art style is good, and I like this girl here. And this little girl in the background here, she's got the ability as well. She is a psychic, I believe, is what her power does, and she can pinpoint areas and tell you stuff before they happen. So yeah, I would give that a look if you're interested. I would not recommend the anime though. They did make an anime, and although I personally haven't seen it myself either, I've looked into it and I can find virtually no good reviews on it. Every review I've seen says it's trash. Pretty much they are viewing it the same as the Tears to Tiara dub. So yeah, I would. You can risk it if you want, but from what everyone's been saying, I'm not going to risk it. I don't want to be disappointed again like I was with Tears to Tiara. Couldn't even get through 3 episodes of that. My next one up is number 3, Chimemare Tsukubim no Chainsaw. I can't say that properly. That's a hard one. As you can probably tell just by the cover, not for the kiddies. This one doesn't focus so much on like build up of a plot or story or anything like that. It really much just throws you right in. It's like almost like it was halfway through the story already. Sorry about that. Frog in my throat. Anyway, what it is it's about a schoolgirl trying to get revenge on this one chick who's completely off her rocker, like just completely whack job. And this whack job chick is doing experiments on all of the students in the school and basically turning them into Frankenstein projects. Like she's, whether they be like zombies or like giving them mechanized parts or whatever, like she's basically turning them into her own little science projects. And she is the only one to have gotten out of that unscathed. But considering that this chick has done this to some of her friends, she is obviously very vengeful. And so she has taken up a custom-made chainsaw to get revenge on this girl who's like wiped out the entire school. But on the reverse side, this psycho chick has also got a thing for the main heroine and wants to add her to her experiments to do I'm guessing, a specific kind so that she can have her to herself. So there's not so much really any deep story to it. It's, if you're just looking for one that's just full of action, blood, guts, gore kind of thing, not really trying to find anything deep and behind it, that's one I would recommend. That's one I read when I'm just looking for something quick to read. Despite it not having all of that deep meaning behind it, it is actually pretty good reading. The art style is actually pretty unique, and considering the temperaments of the characters and all that, it's got a few laughs in it, and it gripped me. So I would recommend at least giving it a boo. My next one would be Dragons Rioting. Dragons Rioting is it's a funny one, but it's also got a lot of action to it, and it's got like lessons of acceptance and learning to fit in, and like dealing with medical issues in a rather humorous way. What it's about is, it is about a guy who was born with a disorder that if he got sexually aroused, it could be potentially fatal for him, which is an actual disorder. It does exist. I can't remember the medical term for it, but it does exist. So his father went to the mountains and trained him up, like, typical martial arts cliches. And eventually, after his training was done, he came back and he enrolled him into this all-boys school to make sure that, he was safe and that he didn't have to worry about his condition affecting him. Because, you don't want your son to die. But typical of all cliches, it turned out to be not an all-boys school, but the opposite, and rather the biggest all-girls school that had just turned co-ed. So now he's having to live in this all-girls school, trying to not die, basically, because of, them boobs and asses. And the unique thing about this school, though, is it is a do or die. It is a survival of the fittest. And the kings of these schools are known as dragons. And you've got the 3 girls up there who are, I can only remember the one right now because I haven't read it in a while. That is the one downside of this manga, is it is so inconsistent with the chapters. There are about 40 right now, but since I haven't read it in a long time, the only one I can remember is Kyoka. And then there's 2 others. And they're constantly fighting for the top spot as the top dragon. And these dragons are the ones you do not want to mess with. Like, they will pummel you into the ground. And I guess as you read on, you learn that they have this festival that will determine any new possible dragons that show up that can get this little mantle, and if you can win it, you can be declared one of the new dragons. And so it's very action packed. It's got a lot of humor because of the MC's mishaps with his condition and always having to get out of spots using his really funny, wacky martial arts techniques to get out of his bad spots with the girls and all that, so he doesn't like get killed because of his condition. But it does have its serious moments as well. Like Kyoka, she is very, very serious when it comes to fighting. She loves fighting. She's always got like the proverbial rape face going. But when she finds out about his condition, she's very accepting of it. And she doesn't ridicule him for it at all. And she's just accepts him for what he is, which surprises him because of her usual temperament. So it's a little well-rounded for everything. So again, something I'd give a boo to. The next one on my list would be Omamori Himari. This one I just randomly came across a couple of years back when I was just searching for something to read. And it is about a cat girl and a guy named Yuto. And Yuto is, funny enough, allergic to cats. And Himari happens, go figure, to be a cat demon responsible for protecting him. And she, when she shows up, she reveals to him that he is the successor to a very powerful family of demon slayers. But the demon slayer family that he comes from are pacifistic, and that they don't want to harm demons unless they have to. Specifically, the cat tribe demons. They spared them in the past, and that's why Himari and her clan has decided to serve them as a way of saying thanks for his grandfather. Actually, was the one that spared Himari's ancestors. So she now protects him as he grows and learns how to become a demon slayer. And as you go on, you meet other demons like Shizuku and Lizlet, and you learn about all sorts of different kinds of demons. Like you got the, I believe they got a kappa or two in there. You've got the Tsukumogami. You've got water sprites and the Danamobachi. I hope I said that right. But there's all sorts of demons, and they go into myths, and it's another one of those typical harem ones as well. You know, one guy gets all the girls, he does one thing, and the girl falls head over heels for him, and they fight for his affections. So it's, you know, nothing out of the ordinary in that fact. But it's got a good story. It's got a lot of serious moments, a lot of funny moments. It's got a few cliffhangers here and there that make you just really want to see what's next. And the art is really, really good. I know a lot of times with its slow updates, I was just dying to wait or dying to see what happened next. You won't have to worry about that if you decide to pick it up, because it is completed now. So you'd just be able to see like all 75 chapters, I believe there are. You'd be able to just read it in its entirety. And as I say, I keep swearing that Yuto is the luckiest unlucky bastard of all time. But I won't say why. Omamori Himari does have its own anime, so if you want to check that out, I would as well. The anime is alright. It's not great, it's not bad. It's kind of 50-50 to the manga, like one episode would be to it and the other would be completely its own direction, but it's not bad. I've watched it a few times when I'm bored and can't find anything. So yeah, give that one a check out too if you like cat girls and slayers and lots of fan service. Lots of it. But nowhere near like To Love Ru or Quasar or anything like that. And this one, Monster Musume. This one's becoming a little more popular. It's got its anime, it's got a new online web game. So this one, I guess, isn't so obscure anymore. But I'm sure if you talk to a lot of people, they would still say, yeah, I've kind of heard the name, but I have no idea what it's about. So that's why I put it on this list. This is another one that I've come across when I was just looking for stuff to read. And it looked interesting. I've always liked monster girls. I've always had the thing for demon girls and things like that. So I'm like, why not? And after the first chapter, I was hooked. And for those of you who don't know, like I said, this is a list for just not ones that nobody has ever heard of. It's just lesser known ones. So for those who don't know the series, it is about a guy named Kimihito who is housing, at first, the monster girl Mia, who is a lamia. And for those who don't know what a lamia is a half snake, half human hybrid, generally depicted in history as half snake, half woman. And as things go, or I guess I should explain how that happens first. How that happens is the government, a few years back, finally disclosed the existence of monster girls. And so they put into an act that in order to better integrate them into society, and so that people and the monster girls could live easier with one another, they would serve as house stays and learn basics of human society. And that's where it starts. So Kimihito is at first just housing Mia, but of course, typical of all harem animes and mangas, it doesn't stop there. He eventually runs into Pappy, who's a harpy, and then he's got Ceres, the centaur, and just keeps building and building and building. If you're looking for fan service, this is definitely one to check out. If you like your fan service, put this on number one. But despite all that, the overwhelming amount of fan service in this manga, like I even say like every second page is a porno shot. Sometimes, like that's what I say. But despite that, when you look between the lines of this manga, it is actually quite serious. Because it does deal with issues, like real life issues like racism and acceptance and things like that, because they do have the two people in there that they make fun of Mia for her snake-like appearance, as well as Centaur for her lower half of being a horse. So they do show the prejudices of human society and how we can act towards things or people or anything that isn't like us. So it does have its messages that it's trying to teach underneath all that plot armor. So it's not all just about the boobs, butts, and the shoulders. Just mostly. And the next one that I have up for you guys is Popute Pupiku, or Pop Team Epoch. This one's more like your morning news comic strip. There's no story, there's no character development, there's no real message behind it, nothing like that. There's absolutely none of that to be found in this one, which might make you think, well, why the hell would I read it then? Like, that's what I'm looking for in a manga. I want that. That's why I read it. But let's slow down a bit there. That's why I'm going to explain it. The reason why this is one of my favorites is because, like I said, it's like your Sunday or your morning newspaper. You skim through the newspaper and you go to the comic strip section and you read them. They've got no character development or anything in there. You just read them because they're funny, and that's what this little manga is about. As you can probably see from the cover, again, not for kids. This is a manga that can either be really, really funny or really, really kind of like meh, because it's nothing but a joke. And the more jokes you get, the funnier it'll be. But if you go to a page where you don't get the joke, then obviously you're just going to skim to the next page and just be like, whatever. The thing that really got me on this manga was the one strip where this chick, she's the younger sister. She was doing a little dance in the comic strip, and by the end of it, she's in jail. And the older chick here is asking, like, well, what the hell did you do? And in the top corner there, it said, arrested for YouTube crimes. And I had to laugh my ass off because I could be wrong. But that chapter came out just after all the YouTube drama with the copyright bullshit came out and was going on, and everybody's getting the copyright strikes because nobody could seem to do this tiniest thing without getting copyright strikes. So I think it was taking a jab at that, and that's what hooked me. So yeah, I would look that one up if you're just looking for something silly. They have so many references. I think they've made a Metal Gear reference or two in there. Power Rangers, whatever. YouTube, obviously. So yeah, go check that one out. Next one, Rosario Vampire. This one I picked up several years back, and it, to this day, is one of my favorite manga. It follows the adventures of this guy down here, Skune Iona. God, that's hard to say fast. He gets transferred to a really well-known or well-respected school, and he's happy about that. But when he gets to his homeroom and he's being introduced to the teachers and the class and everything, he finds out it's not your typical school. This school is a school for monsters. And at first he's like, yeah, whatever. This must be just some little joke. Until you start seeing that it's not a joke when the teacher does show that she's in fact a Neko. And the one guy beside him is basically showing he's got like that really long serpentine tongue. And so now he's starting to go, what the fuck? So on his way to school, he meets this girl, Mocha Akashiya. And she claims to be a vampire, which again he's skeptical at first. He actually runs into her before he gets to class. Forgot to mention that. And she's got the rosary on her chest. And that, she explains, seals her power. Because if she doesn't wear that, she becomes a full vampire and her power gets released. And she basically goes, like, as she calls it, she becomes a terrifying vampire. And as the series goes on, he meets more friends and more girls fall for him. Another typical harem one. The first season is quite funny. It's got its serious moments, but it's a lot of jokes, a lot of laughter, a lot of panty shots, a lot of the girls trying to gain their affections from him. The second season is pretty much the same, but near the second half, it becomes much, much more serious. Like, they pretty much cast aside the jokes. It's no longer a joke anymore. It becomes very, very serious. They have the odd one to lighten the mood here and there, but it becomes very, very serious, and in some parts can be a little dark. But it is still a magnificent series, and I would definitely check it out if I were you. And finally, Ahem A Verse. This is done by the same author who did Omamori Himari. And although it's only about 25 chapters long, it's a really, really good one, in my opinion. So if you're only looking for a quick read, I'd give it a shot. And it's about a guy who's, since childbirth, has been affected with a severe heart condition that over time it will be fatal. He can't escape it. It's just a matter of time. He will die from it. And his parents, I believe, they died in a car crash, if I remember right. They died somehow, anyway. So his big sister has taken up the role to take care of him. So in order to do that, she had to drop all her schooling and all her dreams of doing whatever she wanted to do to take care of him. And because of this, he's grown depressed, and he said, you know what, fuck it all, right? I'm just going to end it. I'm going to die anyway. And I don't want to be letting my life ruin my sister's and having all her dreams burn in flames because of me, who's going to die anyway. So he goes to a bridge, and he's about to end it all when this guy confronts him. And he says, well, how about you leave your sister something for when you go? You're going to die anyway. You've already resigned yourself to it. So how about, instead of you dying and leaving your girl with nothing, you resign your heart over to me, and when you die, I'll give you, and you'll get 10 million yen, but in order for that to happen, you have to die at the end of the year in a way that I choose. And he's skeptical of this at first, but the man says, I'll give you this medicine as proof of our agreement, and your heart will be like the strongest heart to have ever been created. Like, the best, most in-shape person won't even compare. And so he's like, oh, fine, I'm screwed anyway, regardless. So he takes it, he makes the contract, and when he wakes up, he's got these two really, really good-looking girls with him. And this is one of them. And it turns out that they are demon princesses. And they are guarding him for this year until his new heart matures. And at the end of that year, one of them will eat his heart and gain the powers of that heart and will become the leader of their clan. And then his sister will get the 10 million yen. So along the lines of the manga, people become possessed by other demons because they are also looking for the heart, and so these demon princesses have to fight off these demons and save those people from the possession. because while they'd normally have no real problems killing those people off, the MC obviously doesn't want that, so they're gentle with them, quote unquote. But another one that's got serious moments, funny moments, lots of action in it. It's got fair amounts of fan service, but it's not huge amounts. It's got the one chapter with her that I really like, where she loses her memory, and it gets pretty serious, actually. It's a nice chapter to read. And then it's also got the funny little chapter with another demon that these two know that's trying to get revenge and doesn't work out quite the way she wants. But if you're wanting to read it, I won't spoil it. But yeah, not much else to say really about this one. Yeah, it's pretty much just whoever he summons the most is the condition for it. Whoever he summons the most is the one that gets to eat the heart, and they become the demon leaders of the clan. And the sister then gets the 10 million yen. But yeah, those are my 10 manga that I would recommend, or 9, sorry. If I didn't do the greatest job at describing them or whatever, I apologize. This is my first video doing this, and some of them I haven't read in a very long time, so I don't remember all the names or all the happenings. I only remember a general aspect of them, like Big Tira I haven't read in a while, so I just remember most of the general concept of what happens. That's why I can't remember a lot of the names. But yeah, all of these are really good mangas, and I would I'd recommend checking them out. I would think at least one of them listed here would appeal to your interests, and even if none of them do, you've at least now got the artists under the lists that that you can check out, and maybe you'll find something just from there in their artwork or manga lists that you can like from them. Whichever, it's up to you. But yeah, until then, you've got Onihime, you've got Rosario, Papate, Musume, Himari, Dragon's Riding, Sukuban, Big Order, Bacteria, and yeah, that's about it. So if you want to give those a try, I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I described them well for you guys. But until next time, keep enjoying anime.